Buccaneers head coach Steve McGrath. With him is James Kirkham and Stephen Kazmala. Coach, can you give us an opening statement?
Thank you. I just probably beside words right now where it's hard because I just want to explode. But I'm grateful that sometimes you have a final and the final's over early. And I guess if you're on the losing side, credit to Westchester, because we're not the only big dog, on paper that they took care of. It was no fluke that they were here, and coached extremely well. And it's hard to play the way they play with regards to the amount of workload that they have to have and the abilities that they have to have in terms of getting things done. And so the credit really goes to Coach Michael Ben, because he's obviously put together an incredibly stringent program for them to follow, and to credit to the kids that they followed that. On our side of things, extremely excited, and we probably exercised some demons that were sitting around for 18 years, and we had some alumni that were in that game in the stands, and that's what this program is about. It's been about family, and I know people always talk about family, but this is really, it's family. I can't thank them enough. I can't thank my wife enough. I can't thank, to be fair, I can't thank Jesus Christ for the difficulties. We've had some extreme difficulties over the last 24 months. My own personal life, family, living in a hotel because we're out of the house, and so many people have come by, stood by verses and prayer. And we had at our church, the Cross Church, we had people specifically prayed for every single one of these players on my team and coaches all year long. So it's a family, and it was a family victory today.
Questions?
Coach, felt like the game kind of flipped in roughly the 55th minute. Kind of felt like the beginning of the second half, the team came out a little flat, and then you won a free kick at the top of the box. And from there, it felt like 35 minutes worth of offense and just pressure all over the field. What changed?
Well, I think the yellow card helped, actually. I think that it proved that we were trying to get some things going, and I think as soon as that yellow card hit, I don't know if it was a little bit that Westchester changed, because it was a little bit less of the way that they had been successful in most of the early part of the first half and into the second half. And I think at that point we were able to play, and I think almost maybe that trigger hit for our guys that, okay, we need to get to the process of what has to take place for us to be successful. And I think James was critical with regards to following through and saying, okay, I'm going to trust what you have told me, because he ended up being in the position where he needed to be in based on getting the results. So I think at that moment, maybe the ice started to melt, and the guys started to kind of heat up. And at that point, once the goal went in, I mean, forget about it. We just kind of went from there.
Since we have our two goal scorers here, can you each describe your goals for us?
I was just happy to win a header at 5'0". I don't really tend to do that often. So no, the ball's gone out to Fran on the left-hand side, and we've been working on quite a lot of training, getting in front of the first man. So I just made sure I was there. The ball come in, and I thought just direct it towards goal, hope for the best, and luckily it went in.
Yeah, with the free kick, I'm not usually on them, to be honest, but I just thought with this surface, with the weather, it was quite slippery, so I just thought hitting the target's the most important thing. So I didn't actually decide where I was going to place the ball until I saw the goalie kind of almost in the middle of his goal. So I just kind of saw a bend round, just kind of hit the target, and then it went in, and I was happy to see it go in.
We all were happy to see it going.
Speaking of goalies, yours had to work pretty hard in the last few games. Today, he kind of had an easy day. It looked to the objective person. So, what were you doing to take the burden off him?
From my perspective, I thought he had a hard day. I mean, I think he had to do some man-child stuff. I mean, the guys have dubbed him St. Marcos since Thursday, and it's fair. But from my opinion, from my standpoint, these guys should be able to describe it too, especially Steven being back there. But I would say that he was very, very important. And I think the busyness that he did have, he had to be strong. So I think all in all, that's probably a good description of maybe the way this team works. But I thought that his man-child approach to life, he had to do what he had to do, and he did it the way he needed to do it. So there was no follow-ups. It was like, done. Solid day. He should be up here too. Probably just get rid of me and put him here instead.
Yeah, I think it was a slight different game for him, whereas the game previous it was more like shot stopping. This was more like sweeping up. As the ball was slipping off surfaces, he was just kind of like heading, clearing the ball, and just almost being that like fifth defender, if you like. So it was. It just shows his versatility as a goalkeeper, that he can also save shots as well as clean up and move the ball. So it was top performance from him once again.
So you talk about just going down goal and sort of mindset, especially after halftime, you're going to break down 1-0. What the sort of mindset of the team, the feeling was at that point?
I mean, it's happened to us before, so it wasn't anything new. So we just thought 45 minutes is a long time. Do what we're good at, get the ball, pass the ball, get in these triangles, 1-2s. We did that, and as you said, around the 55th minute, they started to drop. I'm not sure if there was a slightly more tired, but we saw something open up, so it enabled us to start creating these gaps, exploiting the gaps, and then that's what led to both the goals.
Yeah, I think we just carried on playing our own game. Like, we didn't stray, we started playing a different way that we played all season. We just kept composed, kept playing the ball around, and trusted in what we've worked on for the last 14 weeks, and it paid off.
James, you didn't start yesterday, or I should say on Thursday. You did start today. I've heard a lot of players say, I've learned not to have a preference because then you succeed in one level and then you get frustrated on another side. So maybe to focus more, I want to ask about is how you mentally prepare for a game, knowing that you might start, you might not, but you're needed whenever you're out there.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I just love playing football. So whether you're on the pitch, I just love being around the boys. So whether I'm on the bench, on the pitch, I just try and make a difference however I can. And being that, whether I'm supporting the lads or actually on the field. But mentally, it doesn't really faze me. I don't think any different to whether I'm starting or not. I just want to make a difference when I'm on the pitch. So just work harder when I'm on the pitch and it'll pay off.
Coach, the journey this postseason has been, there's been some difficult times. You had 2 games ago, penalty kicks, and obviously this one where you got behind early. But to overcome all of those scenarios and then obviously end up with a national championship, what have you learned about your team through this postseason experience?
I think our postseason started in the middle of the year, to be honest. I think that we lost really critical players, guys that could flat out play, and devastating injuries, season-ending injuries. We had a devastating loss about the same time, just prior to that injury, that I think was, I've used the word crucible with our guys a lot. I'm not sure if all of them know what it means, but at least they act like I do. It's just brilliant. But the fact is that we lost a really critical game that I think played a major factor in today's result. And so I think that with those injuries, we started realizing that it was the old interchangeable part. Oh, this guy went out, this guy's in. Now we're going to get this guy back, and then that guy goes out. And we never fully felt at full strength numerically. Mentally and emotionally, these guys have been at full strength. And I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to really truly ask them on a private note. But they had to watch what my family went through. And it was humbling that they stood in the gap when we had no home. I think that those things, when the injuries came, were like small potatoes. And so at the end of it, I think by the time playoffs came, it was like, yeah, sure, this is just fun and games, it's like going to the movies. Fair. I mean, that's how I've seen those guys since then. I would coach these guys. I have some guys out there that lost in the 2000 title that still got some. Like I said, there was some demons exercised today, but those guys are incredibly good family members, and I love those guys to death because they created who I am as a coach. I would coach this team until the end of my days if I had the choice.
Guys, can you talk about the importance of set pieces? Obviously played a role in pretty much all 3 goals. The execution in the second half.
Yeah, specifically, we usually zonal mark, so we just put 3 players on the 6 and then pick up 1 on the post and then 2 just in front. But Westchester put the players around the goalkeeper, so it's slightly different, something that we didn't adapt to on their corner which they scored from. But we rectified that at half time and said that we want to start sitting slightly deeper, enabling us to attack the ball rather than to try and drop and move the ball that way. But yeah, set pieces are huge in everything. Like, looking at those, they didn't look like the biggest players, but they were they were good at what they did, and they were very good at winning headers. And there's teams that we've come across that are very big, and they were nowhere near as good in the air as what they were today. So, and then, like you say, with the free kick, I mean, it was a game winner. So it's set pieces in every game is huge, but specifically this game even more so.
Steve, you told me earlier this week about how you wanted to have an opportunity as a coach to join your father in the ranks of winning a national championship. And I understand how much your family means to you. Now that you're here and you've realized that, has it set in yet? And what do you feel about just being able to accomplish something that your family has been around for a long time?
No, it's not set in yet. It's sinking in, but I think that there was a point, and we were down. We were probably. I don't think we had. I think it was probably just a couple minutes before Kirk scored, and I was thinking, man, you know, Dad had to lose 3 of these things before he finally won one. I don't think I can do that. And then I prayed, and then you scored, and I let out a primal scream that I can't even. I normally don't do. I don't know that Ali Simmons, who is a massive credit to this program, my assistant, who actually is a dual championship winner because he won with Charleston last year. So I hope he doesn't leave me and go to somewhere else and they win it again. But you know, I thought about that, and then I realized that it doesn't have to be exactly that way. I'm proud and I'm honored to be in that cathedral now, because I mean, you're talking, you know, man that's been in 10 championships games. So I look forward to talking to him, and I knew he couldn't be here today because he had a commitment to be at another championship. So he's full of championships, and it just oozes from him. But I'm really honored, and I'm humbled to not have stained his name. That was my first worry as a very rookie coach. I thought I was going to stain his name.
Any questions? Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.